The story begins in the year 2003 when Court Gentry, a prisoner convicted of murder, is approached by CIA officer Donald Fitzroy. Although Court has been imprisoned for over 2 decades, Fitz reveals he can help him commute his sentence. Surprised, Court asks for the catch, expecting to hear some wild stuff like being taken to a Diddy party.
You work for us.
But Fitzroy reveals that all he has to do is work for the CIA. According to him, there's a secret CIA program called the Sierra Program, in which he'd be trained to kill bad guys for the government. While Court remains suspicious about the golden opportunity, Fitz reveals that he has reviewed his case and understands what sent him to jail in the first place. He then admonishes the Court to use the same pain within him as a fuel to become their greatest asset. Court accepts the offer and is assigned the codename Sierra 6. 18 years later, 6 is one of the few remaining members of the Sierra program, known for carrying out missions that the CIA cannot officially acknowledge. One night in Bangkok, 6 and a fellow CIA agent, Danny Miranda, are tasked with assassinating a high-profile target during a fireworks festival party. As planned, 6 gets into position with a sniper rifle from an underground pavement, while Danny acts as a scout. He locks in on the target and is about to take the shot, but notices a child near the target, so he hesitates, losing the opportunity to take the target down without having to deal with his security guards. While the superiors crash out at his failure, 6 enters the party and starts attacking the guards, causing the target to attempt to escape. Danny joins in on the attack and almost gets jumped, but the camera does its best to hide that bit. After mopping the floor with a heckload of guards, 6 eventually gets to the target, who proves to be highly skilled as well, and a close quarters fight breaks out between them. Although the man fights dirty, using things in the environment to his advantage, 6, who is still clearly stronger, overpowers him and gives him a fatal strike in the gut. While the man slowly bleeds to death, he reveals that his codename is Sierra 4, a former CIA assassin. He also reveals that he had gotten his hands on classified CIA secrets, and that's why they labeled him a threat. Sierra 4 hands 6 an amulet containing a flash drive and asks him to use it to take Denny Carmichael, the new superior of the CIA, down. Realizing that he could one day be next, 6 accepts the amulet, and Sierra 4 gives up the ghost. 6 then leaves immediately. As backup arrives, Carmichael reaches out to 6 after the mission to know if he had found any specific items on the target's body, but 6 denies it. Heading to a cafe, 6 tries to access the flash drive details, but finds out that it's encrypted, so he takes it to a post office and mails it to one of his old allies. Not wanting to risk traveling back with the CIA, 6 contacts Fitz, who is now retired, and fills him in on the details, asking for help traveling back to America. Fitz then uses his connection to find him a local extraction team, but warns him to be very careful on his way there. Finding out that 6 has blown off his exfil, Carmichael concludes that he probably has the drive, so he devises a dubious plan and hires Lloyd Hansen, a former CIA operative known for his violent methods. Lloyd, who was expelled from the agency for his brutality and now works as a private contractor, then gets ordered by Carmichael to capture or unalive 6 and retrieve the drive.
You know better than to ask.
Meanwhile, 6 arrives at the agreed location and meets a set of military officers who lead him onto a plane, while Fitz attends the burial ceremony of one of his old friends who passed away from severe back pain while aggressively cracking his wife. He gets approached by Lloyd, who makes his intentions clear. Lloyd asks for 6's whereabouts, but when Fitz denies any involvement in the case, he reveals that he had captured his niece, Claire. Using Claire as leverage, Lloyd gets Fitz to order the soldiers escorting 6 to unalive him. On the plane, while the soldiers try to make a move, Six immediately catches on and fights back alone against them. During their scuffle, a misfired bullet accidentally makes a hole in a side of the plane, which then begins to expand. Some of the soldiers get pulled out by the force, while the others hold on for their dear lives. While the plane drifts towards destruction, Six tries to grab a parachute bag, but one of the soldiers beats him to it and dives out, causing him to dip after him. However, Fitz, who is still stuck with Lloyd, receives a call from the soldier's number, and when he answers, it's revealed that Six had caught up to the soldier and used his parachute to land safely, taking him out in the process. Finding out about the whole situation with the girl, Fitz swears he's going to rearrange the guy's face until it looks like a 5-star Airbnb for pigeons. Apparently, about 2 years earlier, Fitz had made him Claire's personal bodyguard, and he had grown really attached to her after spending a little time with her. Now, learning that she has been abducted by the bad guys, he realizes he has to do something about it. On his journey back to America, Six arrives at Vienna, where he meets up with a sneaky old man, who's the person you run to when you've just acquired a massive aura debt in front of fine shit. Although hesitant, the old man lets Six in when he tosses him bundles of money. Inside his apartment, he asks the old man to help him track down Fitz's address, where he suspects Claire must also be, and the man gives him the bearing in no time. He also requests a passport, so the old man makes him get cleaned up before standing in front of the camera. Little does he know he's walking into a trap as the floor suddenly opens, making him fall into a deep pit. The old man then reveals that a bounty had been put on his head, and he's at a stage in his life where he could really use some bands. Meanwhile, Carmichael takes Danny to Berlin, where he interrogates her thoroughly for intel to learn what she knows about Six's sudden betrayal, and as expected, she denies all association with it. While Carmichael pries more for more information, he receives a text from the sketchy old man, reporting that he has captured Six. It is then shortly reported to Lloyd, who immediately starts to head to the location. In the pit, Six knows he can't just sit around and let himself get captured, so he grabs his kits and brainstorms for ideas. Noticing a huge pipe, he destroys it, causing water to gush out and start to fill the pit. He also gathers gunpowder from his bullets into a container, which he prepares to use as a bomb. When Lloyd and his forces arrive at the location, the old man asks for the money, but it is dropped. Around this time, the water in the pit has already risen to surface level, so when Lloyd's men approach, Six uses his bomb to blast most of them off. He then swims out and takes out the rest easily. After watching his henchmen get mauled, Lloyd decides it's his turn to aura farm, so he attacks Six with his main character energy, but Six makes him run for his dear life when he attempts to blow them off with a grenade. Outside, Lloyd corners Six down with a Glock, but Six can't be less bothered because he just realized he lost his brand new Air Jordan 4 in the explosion. When Lloyd tries to gun him down, he gets tranked in the ass by Danny, who had just arrived. Danny then dumps him in the trunk of her car after he steals Lloyd's shoes. Driving off, she tries to find out what exactly he did to make the whole agency turn on him like this, and he tells her about the encrypted file, which apparently, even he doesn't know what it contains. When he reveals that he had sent it to an old acquaintance to help with the decryption, Danny heads there straight away. However, Lloyd, who had been picked up by some of his other men, arrives at their base. Frustrated, he thinks up more ways to catch Six, and then decides to switch tactics. He has also seen CCTV footage of Six delivering the mail, but doesn't know the exact destination. So he tortures Fitz for answers. Fitz proves to be experienced at being tortured, just like your reputation, so he maintains his composure. But the moment Lloyd attempts to bring Claire into it, he snitches even harder than Takashi 69.
Well played.
Meeting up with Margaret Cahill, Six's old alliance, who also happens to be a retired CIA agent, They skip pleasantries and get straight to business. Margaret reveals the details of the drive, and both Six and Danny are shocked to learn that the CIA has a lot of weird shit they're trying to hide. The decrypted data shows that Carmichael has been running unauthorized assassinations using Sierra operatives and covering them up. It also proves that he and his associate, Suzanne Brewer, are misusing CIA resources for personal agendas.
Hit this meatball like a freight train. Review.
Following the information gotten from Fitz, Lloyd's men arrive and start to shoot at the building, forcing Six, Danny, and Margaret to take cover. Margaret then hands them a key to a bulletproof Mercedes, which she claims will go a long way with them. The agents toss a grenade into the building, so they are forced to split up. Danny takes the keys and heads out to secure an escape route for Six, who stays behind to ensure Margaret's safety. While the agents storm the building, Margaret pushes Six into a secret escape route, but stays back due to unsettled scores. When the agents get close enough,
whatever they are paying you,
Margaret causes a gas explosion that annihilates her with all the agents. Six, who has just made it out of the building, gets held down by a bunch of local policemen, who suspect him of being responsible for the explosion. They cuff him and try to take him away, but Six shortly breaks free and darts across the street. He then unexpectedly gets hit by a speeding car, giving the policeman a chance to apprehend him again. This time around, Six gets cuffed to an outdoor chair, but is shortly visited by some of Lloyd's men, who give him a warm welcome. Although Six is still cuffed to a chair, none of the ops' bullets reach him, obviously because they're the bad people in the story. He eventually gets to set himself free and take down a couple of the world's most skillful assassins before getting into a moving train. In the train, he gets attacked by a bunch of agents who also slip in, but Six takes them out like trash. The rest of the ops try to stop him with their fancy cars. But Six gets joined by Danny, who changes the dynamics. Thanks to her navigation style, most of the outdoor enemies get knocked off course, giving Six a chance to focus on the indoor ones. When Six tries to attempt a Mission Impossible move and jumps onto Danny's ride, he gets intercepted by another enemy who suddenly shows up. He ends up atop the train, running backward as it heads towards distraction, and is rescued by Danny, who never left his side the whole time. Together, they both escape through the alleys of Prague, heading back to the location where Fitz and Claire are being held hostage. Back at the base, Suzanne seriously blames Lloyd for being so reckless and costing them a good number of their forces, but Lloyd proves to still have a solid trump card. In a while, he reaches out to a man whose codename is Lone Wolf, and asks him to get the job done. When Six and Danny arrive at a hospital for some medical supplies, they get approached by Lone Wolf, who proves to be far more dangerous than any of their previous foes. During the course of the battle, Lone Wolf stabs Six a couple of times, while still creating enough time to mop the floor with Danny. Lone Wolf gets hold of the encrypted device, so he bounces, while they follow him afterward. He is intercepted by a couple of police officers, but takes them down as well and gets on his bike. Danny follows him closely from a rooftop and makes Six toss her a rifle, which she intends to use to take him off the bike. But when she gets to point-blank range, she realizes that the rifle is empty. When Lone Wolf rides away, Danny blames Six seriously for giving her an empty gun, but he replies that it's not proper to toss a loaded gun to a lady.
Practice somewhere else.
Later that evening, they both head to a vet store and use animal supplies to treat their injuries for reasons best known to them. At the store, Danny makes Six tell her about his history and the reason he got sent to prison in the first place before the CIA recruited him. She's shocked to learn that he was constantly abused by his father, who had been trying to pass on his macho man legacy to him. He had gotten to his limit and had taken his father down, landing himself in jail in the aftermath. Danny gets sympathetic and is about to give him some empathy clapping, but the camera cuts away immediately. Lone Wolf arrives at the heavily guarded mansion the CIA agents are using as a base and hands them the drive. And the moment they're about to relieve him of his mission, explosions are heard outside, forcing him to fight with them once again. Six and Danny, who have infiltrated a police base and stacked up enough weapons and ammunition, arrive and start causing serious trouble for the ops. They devise a plan where Danny acts as the decoy, attacking them with a bazooka up front, while Six uses the distraction to sneak into the building to rescue Fitz and Claire. After a while, Lloyd catches on to the scheme, but the moment he gets to their room, it's already too late, as Six has taken them away already. He sets out with some of his men and finds them trying to escape, so he opens fire. In the process, one of his bullets injures Fitz terribly. Fitz, seeing that he's now a liability, convinces Six to escape with Claire, and although they're terribly against the idea, they end up leaving because of time. When Lloyd and his men approach the brutally injured Fitz, he surprises them with a grenade, which he uses to obliterate himself along with most of them. Lloyd, as expected, survives the impact and sets out after Six. Meanwhile, Danny makes it into the building, but is confronted by Lone Wolf, who uses her as an asswipe once again. After a while into their battle, he suddenly stops fighting and hands her the drive, claiming he doesn't want to work with the CIA anymore, because they're dishonorable. Lloyd, however, catches up to Six and starts to attack him. He manages to get his hands on Claire and retreats with her into a nearby maze. When Six catches up with him, Lloyd reveals that he wants them to have a showdown to decide who's stronger. When he lets Claire go, although Danny alerts Six that she has clear visuals of Lloyd with a sniper, he orders her not to take the shot. The two get into a fistfight, where Six proves to be clearly stronger. Not wanting to be taken down easily, Lloyd resorts to his brutal means and starts fighting with a pocket knife, which he digs into Six a couple of times. At some point, he even makes Six remember his childhood trauma by trying to drown him in a nearby fountain. Six later gets the upper hand and begins to choke Lloyd, but before he can finish him off, Suzanne arrives and shoots Lloyd in the chest, ending him instantly. She equally shoots Six in the leg.
Relax. You live.
Rendering him immobile as she begins her boring lecture. After ordering her men to secure the area, she tells Six that Carmichael's involvement will be erased and that they'll make Lloyd take the fall for the whole incident.
But the good news
She offers Six a chance to live in exchange for silence and promises to keep Claire safe if he becomes their loyal dog once again and agrees to the demands. Weeks later, while Six is still heavily guarded in a hospital, Carmichael and Suzanne get into a meeting with the higher-ups, who suspend them for causing too much trouble and paperwork as a result of their recklessness.
Where are they keeping Six?
Basement.
After the meeting, they both head to the hospital to check up on Six, but are shocked to see that he has taken down all the guards and escaped. After escaping, Six heads to the safe house where Claire is being kept, and single-handedly infiltrates the base, taking down the soldiers and rescuing the girl. Together, they escape into an unknown future. Six remains a fugitive, but he has saved Claire and freed himself from CIA control. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.